where horror lies.
Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe. I'm your regular Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. It is week 485. We are the second week in, and it is 1941. Grab a film from 1941 week all across the board. And so, of course, you already know what I'm doing, right? But from the Universal Vault series, One Horror Island by one George Waggner, who will also do The Wolfman for this year, right? Which Sam is doing. And 41 is Sam's year as well. He has come up with the theme this month, which is The End is Nigh. So a bit of Lovecraftian doom and gloom, cosmic horror coming your way at the end of the month. So Horror Island, very interesting film. It only runs about 60 minutes, made for about $93,000, I think, in about 3 weeks. And that is pre-production, production, post-production, get it in the theater. And I'm not sure exactly why films were rushed so fast back then, but I wonder if it has something to do with the theaters becoming a real important place in terms of, before the movies, you'd always get the news clips of what's happening over in Europe and just being kept abreast of what's happening in the world in terms of the war. If you weren't reading a newspaper, you were seeing this stuff in a movie theater. And so, to keep things running, maybe in theaters running nonstop, perhaps, I'm just guessing here, seems to make sense. This is an interesting movie. I really got a super kick out of this. Like I said, about 60 minutes, about an hour long. But it does feel, and this, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it does feel about at least an hour and 20, if not an hour and a half. I mean, it just has that, like you forget this is only 60 minutes. And I don't really mean that to be negative or anything. It just, in a bad way, it just, wow, next thing you know, it does end. And you're like, dang, it was only an hour. But this stars two very well-known characters of the time. Actually, quite a few of them are actually. Dick Foran, though, and Peggy Moran had just basically done something together. I can't remember what it was. So they're basically picking up where they left off here, at least in terms of acting opposite one another. Dick Foran, he plays Bill Martin, and Peggy plays one Wendy. Those two will sort of get hooked up in the beginning here. Bill's buddy, their Stuff, played by Fuzzy Knight, who's got 183 credits to his name. Just guy was amazing back then. Leo Carrillo plays one Tobias Clump. He is sort of the skipper guy. He is sort of the guy who brings this mysterious buried treasure map to Bill. And of course, you got Cousin George, Cousin George of Bill, who's up to no good. And, well, quite a few actually up to no good in this movie. You don't know which one ultimately will be the bad guy at the end. A lot of misdirections here right from the beginning with the Phantom and then the Stranger. But we kind of find out who the Stranger is. But there are other forces at work here in terms of the mystery and plenty of murder here going on. Thinking here, couple things I just, I came across real quick. When you go into the castle, when you eventually go to this island and you go into this castle, which Bill has inherited from his grandfather, I think great-grandfather, he really doesn't know what to do with this island. Now, this is off the coast of Florida. He doesn't really know what to do with it. And very quickly he'll realize, though, because of this buried treasure business, which the skipper sort of brings onto him, he's sort of got the deal, right? Half the map, and then there's a mystery figure out there who has the other half of the map, and they got to race and to get the buried treasure before someone else does. And because Bill has a pile of debt that is just raising between his boat and his storefront business, he tries to grab onto any opportunity that comes along. Now, I think he's a Princeton grad, but he's probably a few years removed from that. And he's going to arrive at that point of having to reconcile with the fact that he's a failure. But now you got to remember, too, now, for whatever reason, he's not gone into the military. There is a war. Of course, the United States hasn't officially got in yet. So as a character, come December, he's going to have that opportunity if he wants to get drafted or to go to join up. But So he sees this island that he has inherited that up till now he had not known what to do with it. He sees it as a business venture to take people out, not that much money, but take people out and look for this buried treasure. He doesn't really believe there's a buried treasure, but he believes in the idea of making money off of it. The skipper, though, he still wants to find it. He believes it's there. And so basically what you have is, because of the phantom and just the mystery, the shroud of him, really early on, Bill will realize that they really need to get the show on the road in terms of getting people out on this tour and to look for this treasure. But there's, you got the stranger who is, he keeps showing up, asking questions, where is Bill Martin? And of course, no one will give Bill up. He doesn't realize why they're looking for him. He assumes it's a debt collector, and it may be. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not going to give the whole boat away, I don't think, pun intended. So they, just as they're starting to ratchet things up to get something moving, a first tour, Bill and his buddy Stuff are pulling away from the curb, and that's when Peggy or Wendy slams into him, and that's where they have their meeting. Now, I need to mention this. Wendy's, who's played by Peggy Moran, Wendy has sort of a chaperone kind of like figure with her, played by Lewis Howard, whose name in the movie is one Thurman, Coldwater. This guy, I'm just going to say it right now, this guy has quickly, in a matter of one film, a few watches, I love this guy. I absolutely love this guy. But unfortunately, when he was 32 years old, he is going to take his own life in a very, very, very tragic way. And it's so sad because he's only 32 and he's got a whole life in front of him. But this guy is, now he spends most of the time in the movie sleeping, which kind of makes his character kind of funny. But God, I don't know. There's just something about him. And when I read that about him, that just really broke my heart. Just thinking that there's not a lot to pull from to go see of him, especially the genre films. And who knows if he would have been in more of them later on. Who knows? But so anyway, so this accident of sorts creates the meeting of the minds between Bill and Wendy, and he has the thing for her, and he thinks maybe he can, who knows, maybe have his cake and eat it too by alleviating this debt now that he has to pay for her car as well, getting her out to go to the island with him. And he makes sort of a double or nothing deal. If you get scared out there, then that kind of removes the debt sort of thing. I can't remember exactly how I worded it. But so anyway, she goes. So she goes, Coldwater. And then you got this I know, sort of investigator sort of guy who is out just trying to bust up fake enterprises, I guess. And so he cons him to go out there. So he's kind of got like, and then you've got this guy who is I think he's running from the law. He's got his wife with him. Who knows what they've just done, rob a bank or something. But see, he sees this diversion as an opportunity to get himself out of the area and then from there move on. So you got a lot of moving parts. And when you get into the island and you get into the castle, of course, you might recognize the staircase is from Dracula, and then you may recognize some of the set pieces from the Tower of London. But I'm not going to drag this out much more. It is what it is, man. It's a short 1 hour mystery comedy, has its moments of tension. There is one scene, man. There is one scene. I don't want to give it away, but I'm just thinking, man, if this movie were remade today and they decided to redo that scene, whew, what a bloody mess on the floor that would be. Either you'd seen it, or if you do see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That would be pretty crazy to see that. But anyways, so you got the Phantom, and then you've got like possibly one or two other moving pieces in terms of people wanting to get their hands on this buried treasure. And so you got sort of people are dying left and right, man. It once the movie starts into the castle, it doesn't take long. And people start, I mean, you got everything, trapdoors, hidden passageways, dark, passageways or whatever, halls. This is a castle. You got knights in shining armor, or knights armor up on the walls that occasionally let the arrow go, and the arrow occasionally lands in someone. You got a mystery figure who is just, there was 9, now there's 8, now there's 7, keeps writing that. So you got kind of like got a lot of things. Look, Bill and stuff, no, this whole thing was a setup. Think of Hell Night. This is a whole ruse just to scare some people and have fun. But once they all realize that there are some real sinister forces at work here who really is going to kill them because they want this loot, things start to get a little bit more serious. And by the end, you're going to have a really, really neat resolution that's sort of, let me just put it like this. Bill, for all of his troubles, I'll give this. He gets the girl. I'm going to give it that to you. He gets the girl. You kind of figure he does anyways. But he will be able to reconcile other things in his life as a result of a surprise. I'll just leave it at that, man. So it is only an hour long. If you can find Horror Island, now I think I only got this for maybe $12 on Amazon or something. I can't remember, 12, $13, maybe cheaper. It definitely is worth it. The 41 series, or the Universal Vault series, is definitely worth it. It's just good stuff back then. And it is a little intriguing when you remember they're making movies and there is a war going on. And in terms of this one, it's not going to be long before the United States is in it as a result of Pearl Harbor, right? In fact, this one gets released March 28th, 1941. So you still got a few months before the devastating attack on Pearl Harbor. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Yes, I think that's all I'm going to say. It's a spooky island, castle, buried treasure. Bring all the people on the island to look for it, and sort of romp 1941 style via Universal. And Universal did some great things. It was great. I absolutely loved it. So check it out. Check it out if you can. And every other review this week, of course, as we run through 1941. Moving our way, of course, as I said, to the end of the month, and some Lovecraftian doom and gloom coming your way. As always, we appreciate your support, the views on Body Bags, the comments, the likes. Sub us if you haven't subbed us. We appreciate it. Look, there would be no reason for us really to do this if you weren't there doing what you're doing. So we appreciate it so much. Thank you. And as always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream.